All right. Hi, everybody. We're here for our live walkthrough of Katie's exhibition. We are going to loop her in now. All right. There she
Hi.
is. Hi, Katie. How
How
you
are
doing up
you?
there?
Hmm?
How you doing up there?
Oh, just isolating in my apartment, feeling good, taking some of this.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, we're here at the gallery alone, physically, but here digitally for everyone. And we thought this would be a fun way to make sure that people that haven't seen your show can do so at a safe distance. Um, so, for everyone that's here, this is Katie's third solo exhibition with the gallery. It's her largest and we feel most ambitious show to date. And there's a lot to unearth here. So I want to start with the patch vessels. These objects are new for this show, and I think feel a little bit different for those that know mostly your figurative work. So maybe you could talk to us about this one first.
All right. Well, this one was made with sort of, I guess, like detritus from my studio. So lots of like tiles from colored clay that we had fired, and then I built a very large vessel and sort of like made a mosaic by shoving the tiles in.
Tell us a little bit about how you make these tiles, because that's been amazing for people to see when they're physically in the space. I think you could have the impression that they're painted, but they're not.
So they're made with colored clay. So we mix mason stain into the clay and then run it through a slab roller. So yeah, it's not painted. It's actually like pigment in the clay body. I mean, this one that we're looking at right now is actually airbrushed.
Which is incredible. And the shape, tell a little bit about how these incredible shapes start to happen.
So we put them through the slab roller, and then we slump them over forms, and we let they're sort of like arbitrary shapes. And this was really, that's my favorite part of it. It's little dangle. It's a little earring.
Tell people what that is.
That's her earring, and it's just a little like ceramic tassel that I drywall screwed into the clay when it hadn't been fired yet, sort of as like an experiment to see if the drywall screw could handle the kiln. Awesome. And it was a success.
And then this piece, is similar, right? So this is the other patch vessel in the show.
Yeah.
And it also has some incredible detail that I'll just kind of scan around for people to see.
I love them. They look so happy there.
This particular piece, I think, is amazing and really painterly. Like, we've talked a lot with visitors about how gestural these objects become.
Yeah. Oh, and that one has a nice little chain in it.
So we'll do this so you can see that it's all ceramic. And I'm allowed to touch because no one else is here, right? So
exactly. Exactly.
So I think the other thing that's really exciting in this show are these slab lamps.
Oh, yes.
So tell us a little bit about these objects that I feel are sort of your Tiffany lamps.
They're my Tiffany lamps. So yeah, they're the same process as the tiles that are in the vases. So they're like patterned pieces of colored clay, and then we slab build them together. And what I like about these are that the pattern sort of like, it incorporates materials from like the previous slabs that we were working on. So that sort of like pink mark in there is kind of like so it's like a birthmark from, and it's like made from clay from the lamp that's on the other side of it, the other pink slab lamp that's right over. Oh, not that one, the one on the left. Yeah, that one. And I just like how they start to build this story and like sort of this like quilt of material.
Tell us a little bit about your reference to quilting, because I know you've brought that up and you've brought some other traditional ceramic techniques like this here. We've talked about a little bit, but I know with the show you were sort of, which feels oddly too timely these past couple of days, going back to more traditional techniques, historic techniques of crafting.
Yeah, I guess like the original concept for the show is like I wanted to sort of like explore American craft. So like originally there was going to be like a wicker piece in the show, but that's stuck elsewhere at the moment. And then it sort of shifted to just like a deep dive into like ceramics and really exploring different facets of the craft and kind of patchworking all of these different techniques together, and incorporating sort of like vaguely incorporating some sort of like textile techniques and being inspired by that. Like the way a lot of the ceramic pieces are built, they're just like coil built, and that's like basic, like the lady lamps. It's like
let's look at this here, because I think a lot of people have a hard time imagining how something like this is actually coil built. And so maybe you could talk to that.
Well, okay, so if you go to the lampshade and if you look inside, you can see all of the coils. Like all of those little lines are coils, and they just like are built from the bottom up, and you just like pinch them with your thumb. So the shades are like perfect because you can like see through and see the other side of the coil. And it just like was reminding me of like basketry, and I'd been like really interested in like weaving ceramics with wicker. And then it sort of like got me thinking about quilting, and that's sort of like where the patch vessels came in. And I was also noticing how sort of like patchworky all of the tiles were becoming when there was kind of like a break in the pattern or like an overlap.
Yeah.
And then this chair is obviously a quilt.
Yeah. So I tell us a little bit about this, because I think this is such a good bridge between the slab work and the ladies. And also a lot of visitors keep saying that she has a face, and this is
oh my God, she does. She's like, oh, she's so sweet. Look at that. She does have a little disgruntled face. Okay, so that is, oh, look at all those tiles. Basically,
I want to show people some of the detail in the legs of this piece, because she also has some components of earlier works sort of fit into her. And
yes.
I think that speaks really nicely to the quilting aspect.
Yeah, so that one was made by like rolling a slab over just like this crappy chair I had in my studio. And so we like covered it in colored clay and sort of like marbleized it. And then I cut it apart into tiles and basically mosaicked it like back together. But I mosaicked it with clay, like with paper clay, which is how I could like get the grout like gold, because that's actually like a gold luster. So yeah, part of it is like tiled together with these pieces that had been formed over a chair, and then sort of to like fill in the gaps, I started shoving in like, it sort of deteriorates, or yeah.
Deteriorating, collapsing, and sort of
Yeah,
having its own life in the kiln.
like deconstructs into this like weird amalgamation of pieces from my studio. And it also reminds me of like the paper mache stuff that I've been doing, just like incorporating, you know, like little bits and pieces from other projects and kind of like telling, I don't know, I feel like you get to tell more of a story that way.
I think this is a really good example of that same sort of assemblage of technique and looking at how various works get pieced together, not just because of the little vase that's on it, but also the forms, right? So this is definitely similar in technique.
Yeah, that one is, I love that one. I love that one because of its little pants.
It's pants.
Its little
Let's
pants.
do this so everyone can see its pants.
Everything goes back to fashion.
And the mosaic, right?
The mosaic.
Yeah.
Yeah, those like, I think that one incorporates like literally like the first tile test I ever did. Like, yeah, that green and yellow and black one. We were trying to do like plaids, and I think that's the first tile that we like made in the studio like because 2 years ago.
You've also done quilting in the past, and you've worked with fabrics, you've worked with stitching. So I think kind of bringing a lot of those different materials into your practice is important to you. And then of course the fruit ladies, which we've totally neglected.
The fruit ladies, we can't neglect the fruit ladies. Talk about hoarding. That's where all of the fruit went. She is a fruit lady, with obviously inspired by Arcimboldo. I don't know, this feels like a very natural direction for the ladies. So we just went with it. They're sort of like, I don't know, they really just kind of created themselves in a way. I mean, it was definitely a lot of work. They didn't actually make themselves.
So labor intensive. But I think there's definitely this feeling that the women and the figure in your work are sort of beginning to disintegrate, right? So they're kind of coming apart. And you see that in the vessels and the chair and the stools. But I think these girls are also an important kind of transitional moment, right? Where the piece is actually composed of material that's decaying.
Yeah, definitely. I love that interpretation. Yeah, I love how kind of like rotten everything looks. You're kind of like, it's like so sort of saccharine that it's like, I don't know, collapsing on itself.
Right.
And I love her celery smile.
Yes, her celery smile. We'll get up close so everyone can get a better look.
It's obviously a celery smile.
And here's the baby fruit lady so everyone can see her.
Baby fruit lady. Okay, so I make the smaller table lamps as sort of like a model for the bigger pieces, just so I can kind of wrap my head around how it's going to scale up and like how it's going to be made. And yeah, so she was the first one.
Amazing.
There's little pomegranate boobies.
All right. Well, I think we've done a good job at sort of showing everyone. I don't know if in the comments section people have questions that they might want you to answer. We can do that for a few minutes.
Oh, cute. An AMA. Does anyone want to meet my cat?
Let's see Katie's cat.
Can you see her? She's sleeping. And look at the Nicola L that Nina gave
All
me.
right. Yeah, Katie, maybe show us a little bit some of the objects that you live with. And then we have one question about how you do the gold. Catherine's toilet paper.
Like, is this not perfect? Who needs toilet paper when you have a painting of it? Come on.
So we have a question about how you do the gold in the pieces.
Oh, yeah. So that is gold luster, which is it's sort of like a glaze. It's a low fire glaze. I don't know. It's like a ceramic technique.
It's a gold,
yeah,
gold glazed ceramic technique. Okay, and then we had somebody that wants to see, Christina wants to see more of Catherine's paintings. So will you share that?
Oh, here. I'm trying not to show the mess in my apartment. This is Catherine's painting. Oh, I live with one of my little lights.
Amazing.
This is Nicholas. Here's a bunch of laundry I need to fold.
All right.
What else? Yeah. Oh, and look, I live with a lady too.
Amazing. All right, Katie, thank you so much. And I hope everyone